Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about a very unsettling movement in the overall kind of MAGA, rest of country sort of civil war that we find ourselves waging. There's a report in the New York Times that canvasses many instances of Republican legislators across the country looking to trim the wings or worse of prosecutors. So the most high profile and most worrisome of this is in Fulton County, as you can imagine, and in Georgia, where in general, Georgia's racial politics are about as roiled and messed up as they come because there's the total schism between Atlanta and Fulton County and the rest of the state. So there are now 5 African-American prosecutors around Georgia, but what remains a very strong Republican legislature. So they've had there is now an effort to put in play what's styled as an independent commission to have oversight of prosecutors, and everybody in Georgia understands that first and foremost they have other bones that they're picking, but first and foremost, this is about Fani Willis and the investigation of Donald Trump that is, by all appearances, shortly to come to a head. So there's a hearing on this proposal. Willis testifies and just gets totally harangued by a Republican senator who says, both he and then supported by Marjorie Taylor Greene, says this is about to try to basically trim her sails about her personal political witch hunt against President Trump, but will not prosecute crime plaguing Atlanta. So it's packaged in a supposed soft on crime package, to which Willis, who's got a reputation as a centrist prosecutor and has some 20,000 cases in her office, has strong pushback. But one of the things she says at a state Senate hearing last month, we've had prosecutors for hundreds of years. You've never thought about this, but now that we have 5 African-American prosecutors and the majority of Georgians now live within the jurisdiction of 14 minority prosecutions, now all of a sudden you're worried about this, Republican legislatures. It's racist, says Willis. And the proponents totally push back. And for you to come in here and try to make this about racism, it's offensive, and it's a racist statement of its own. And then Senator Bryan, the presiding Republican senator, told Ms. Willis, "What do you think about this one, guys? You're being emotional." Can you imagine that kind of statement being made to, say, Merrick Garland or whatever? Hey everyone, we're taking a quick break to ask you to take a second to like and subscribe. It's a quick thing that really helps the show. Thanks, and back to the video. Now, the big point here is it's part and parcel of an overall movement in different places. I'm a former prosecutor and have a real vantage point on this. It really is a chilling idea that legislatures, many of whom, by the way, are potentially have to be investigated for crimes, are setting themselves up to basically discipline and oversee the efforts of prosecutors. I think in the federal system, it would be a pretty blatant separation of powers violation, but that doctrine has different kinds of ways that it's expressed and hits the where the rubber hits the road. I don't know how it would work in Georgia or the other places it's there, but the basic idea of legislators of either party looking to tell prosecutors what to do, that's really a kind of an existential shot across the bow. Now, I want to emphasize that these proposals are out there, and they're not just whistling in the wind. They're coming to Senate hearings and the like. It doesn't mean they'll pass, but maybe this commission passes. There's also a mechanism to make it much, much easier to remove a district attorney. We saw this, say, with McCarthy, more easy to remove him, but that is his own constituency. That's how you remove a Speaker of the House, with the vote of people in the House. Here, you're talking about the political branches reaching out to disable what's supposed to be, essentially, importantly, an apolitical function of prosecution. And I think it can only be seen as part of the overall kind of resentment of and sort of agenda item of disabling Democrats or woke people or elite, or however you want to, describe the picture that's in the middle of the Republican dartboard that they're looking to push back against. But it's obviously a political measure, really infused with politics. And I'll just say, this happens occasionally from both sides. Sometimes Democrats want to push back on certain prosecutorial functions. It's a bad idea. So there's a lot of reasons why it can really, A, mess up individual prosecutions, but B, impair the prosecutorial function, which has to be without fear or favor. And if there's some worry that if you go in a certain direction, the legislature is going to shut you down or make it hard for you, you may well not go in that direction. This is a little off point, but I will. Many of you may have seen what I thought was a really great one-on-one interview with Rachel Maddow about a whole authoritarian movement in the U.S. in the 40s, and what happened there were really important prosecutions, kind of the sort that we're thinking about now, and just big shots in the Congress were able to just call up the Attorney General and make him go away. So that's a very bad thing for justice and the rule of law, and we're revisiting at least fledgling efforts to make that happen now. So need to follow them closely, and hopefully they won't come to pass. Can't be sure, but it's something to keep our eye on. So I'll be back to let you know about it as these things transpire. Until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.